All right, hey VC vinyl community, how you doing? Welcome back. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Jamie. For this edition, I thought I'd feature just one band, and it's a band you may not be all that familiar with. You likely have heard a few of their hits from early 1970 and early 1980. Might be familiar with those songs, but don't know much about their recorded output. It's a band that's had a long and illustrious career. In fact, this band goes back to 1961 when they were first formed. First album came out in 1965, so they go back. And I'd like to dedicate this one to a fellow YouTuber on the vinyl community, David at Naz Nomad. And I'll try to leave a link below if I can remember. But Naz Nomad certainly is a great YouTube channel. Check it out. He has a great album collection, great knowledge of music, and is always seeking out new and interesting stuff. But he mentioned this group that we're going to feature on one of his posts or videos, and talking about how if he pick up something from this group, trying to talk about it with people that people don't really know about the band, or kind of scratching their heads. And I can identify with that, and I know where he's coming from on this one. Because it's a group that often kind of gets forgotten about, or again, you've heard the music or heard a couple of hits but don't really know the band. Talking about Golden Earring from the Netherlands. Great band that goes way back. As I said, first album came out in 1965. So I thought I'd feature Golden Earring for this one to show you some of their stuff and see what you think. Okay, now speaking of classic albums, we're going to 1973 for Golden Earring, the album Moontan. And this features the big hit Radar Love from 1973. Now, as you can see, this is, if you know the Golden Earring stuff, this is the alternate North American cover. The original cover was that of a sort of exotic dancer or a burlesque dancer, kind of a vintage burlesque dancer. So this is the alternate cover. Myself, I'm not too big on alternate covers. However, I've always liked this one. I think this is kind of a cool album cover. So I've always liked this one, but I'm not always big on when they change the covers around. But there you go, from 1973. Absolute classic album from start to finish. Radar Love kicks it off. So you got just 5 tracks on this one. Radar Love, Candy's Going Bad, Vanilla Queen, Big Tree, Blue Sea, and Are You Receiving Me? And this came out on Track Records through MCA. And there you go. And I do love on this one in the fine print, they go, notice, this album was originally released by MCA Records on the Track Record label in a different jacket, but bearing the same title. So there you go, lots of information there. So 5 tracks on this one. On the UK European release, of course, with the original album cover. That album cover with the burlesque dancer was initially released in North America, but they quickly changed it. But the UK European release has 6 tracks on the album. The North American one has 5 tracks, and even then the tracks don't really match up. On the UK version, they have Susie Lunacy and Just Like Vince Taylor, which don't appear on the North American release. However, Big Tree Blue Sea, which is on the North American release, isn't on the UK version because that song had appeared on an earlier Golden Earring album. So it gets so confusing when they do that. And even in the early 70s, mid-70s, they were still alternating the tracks for different, for the UK as opposed to the North American release or the European release and the North American release. They did that with the Beatles a lot over the years, and it's just maddening. I don't know why they do that so much. But having said that, from start to finish, this is a great album. And Barry Hay, the vocalist with the band, the 2 band members, Barry Hay and George Kooymans, are still original members and still with the band. But Barry Hay also plays flute, and when you're listening to the track Big Tree Blue Sea, it almost feels like you're listening to a Jethro Tull album at times. But overall, great rockin' album from start to finish, Moontan. And on vinyl, I have their other big album from 1982. We're talking about Golden Earring Cut. The album cover. And this features the hit Twilight Zone, which is another great driving song. In terms of your top 5 driving songs, Radar Love and Twilight Zone have to be up there. And this was released through Polygram. This one's got the lyrics on the inner sleeve. And this was on the 21 Records label. 21 Records. All right, so there you go. Very nice. So those are their two big albums, again featuring the big hits, that sort of thing. As I mentioned, I've been really rediscovering this group through some of the CD reissues that have been coming out. They've had a fairly extensive CD reissue program going out, especially getting into their stuff from the mid to late '60s. This band, their first album came out in 1965. So pick this up. This is the Golden Earring, and this is a hefty CD box set. Golden Earring, The Complete Studio Recordings. This is a 29 CD box set featuring 26 studio albums right up to 2015's album called The Hag, and 3 bonus CD featuring non-album tracks, that sort of thing. And didn't know initially, but found out that these are actually numbered. So this is number 3128. So that's kind of cool. And as you can see, just the lid comes right off. And there you go. And then we have all of the CDs. And as you can see, this is quite massive overall. And overall, nice reproductions of the vinyl covers. However, they don't have any gatefolds or anything like that. And then the back, they enlarge the track listings. So you get a kind of a reproduction for the back cover, but all the covers look quite good. And as I say, we'll go back to 1965 for their first album, when they were known as the Golden Earrings, with a hyphen, and their first album, Just Earrings. And as I say, if you can check out their 60s stuff, I would highly recommend it. They've got that sort of really kind of 60s, kind of power pop sound, but also kind of garagey at times, but just a great band overall. And as you can see, it's kind of a reproduction of the back cover, but the track listings are quite large, so it's not quite original, but the covers look good. No inner sleeves; they simply pop the CDs in like that. Okay, so there you go. So there's their first album, The Golden Earrings. That's earrings plural and with a hyphen. They then, now if you thought the track listing was a little confusing with Moontan, the name of the band early on in terms of was a little confusing as well. So as I mentioned, the first one is The Golden Earrings. They then dropped the and the hyphen for their next album, another great album, Winter Harvest. This is their second album. So then they're known as Golden Earrings. They then dropped the plural and went back to the. So on this album, they are The Golden Earring. This is still fairly early in their career. This is from 1969. And this is a great album. It's 8 Miles High, and they do a cover of the Byrds tune 8 Miles High that clocks in at 19 minutes. It's stunning. It is great. So here they're known as The Golden Earring. So they've dropped the S and the hyphen, put back in the, and then after that, they simply became known as, for their next album and onward, Golden Earring. And this is their self-titled, I think it's their fifth or sixth album, self-titled, from 1970. And this is the one that features Big Tree Blue Sea, which would later turn up on the North American release of Moontan. So there you go. Are you following all this? And so I can show you the original cover for Moontan. And they follow the UK European release. So this one has 6 tracks, and again, the classic burlesque dancer there, Moontan. And this is not gatefold, but it features the 6 tracks, including Radar Love, which is the 4th track. It doesn't even kick off the album. And I can show you the Golden Earring Cut album. Again, generally nice reproduction overall, not perfect on the back because they've enlarged the track listing, what have you, and then the CD slips in there, so there's no lyrics included. But overall, it's generally a nice presentation. Again, they had to fit a lot of CDs into, reasonably sized box, so I think they had to have some issues there. As I mentioned, it goes right up to 2015's album, The Hag. There you have that, and then it has 3 CDs of non-album tracks, very cool, and then the booklet included as well, which gives you a nice overview overall. And pleased to see that they have just released Golden Earring Alive through the years 1977 to 2015. Same type of format. And on this one, now there's 11 CDs on this one as opposed to 29 on the first one, but still 11 CDs. And this one they do a better reproduction of the LP packages. So this is their classic live album from 1977, and it's a double CD, and it opens up like the gatefold. Very much like the original version, and they do that pretty much all the way through. And then they have bonus CD Alive Through the Years, and then a very nice booklet. Not so much focusing on each album, but a nice write-up overall, with some nice photos of the band throughout, including a nice photo of the guys there. And still going, Golden Earring. Okay, so that's a look at Golden Earring. As I mentioned, if you can check out especially their 60s stuff, it is well worth checking out. But overall, a great band with just a comprehensive career throughout, and still going, Golden Earring. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed, and hit like and subscribe if you can, and we'll chat again real soon. And thank you to all the subscribers. I've got 25 subscribers. All right, we'll chat again. Bye-bye.